said it today, and you almost have to have a village of support to get you here. And I definitely agree. All the people in not just funding, but in the countless hours of practice and doing your routine and basically having what you're going to say nailed down. It, from my perspective in preparation, it looks like a huge community effort. Especially when you have like the Olympics of coffee, basically, and it's a country you're representing and like backing you. It doesn't matter who's in the arena at this stage. When Babinski comes out on the floor, everybody in here is going nuts. And so for me, like, it looks like a community-oriented project, because who's going to taste your coffee? It can't only be your opinion on, this is my special drink, my espresso, and my cappuccino. It's going to taste like this. I don't care what anybody says. Obviously, you're going to have a coach and a team behind you, but even this community backing you through that. It's so interesting. We've talked about it several times that presentation is just such a small point score-wise, and so it's hard to see it at this stage because everybody has it nailed down. They're doing a great job in their performance. Everything's very charismatic and fluid as they go. They're charming and bright, and so it's hard to tell. It's hard to see, and so it comes down to technical skills and execution in your drinks, and how is that coffee represented, and is that coffee a good coffee, and how did you represent it as a good coffee, and so it comes down to taste and technique. I wish that the participants could actually feel and experience more of that. Yeah, I mean, you've kind of seen throughout the years, still is presentation-wise somebody that is charming and fluid. They can hold attention throughout the whole thing. You just not want to be rigorous and going through the motions, and it's like, oh gosh, this is a great drink, but I just kind of feel awkward. That could have an experience shift in the way that you taste your drink. I'm not sure. Qualities that are good in a competitor would definitely be like diligence and preparation. Somebody that's meticulous in the final, like, minor details of what's going into all of their drinks, not to say even just the presentation and setup. That could come from a design eye, from definitely coffee expertise, and like, you have to be academic and scholastic and know coffee, know how, when you're brewing that coffee, what's extracted when and how to best represent that. And then throughout the competitors, you see somebody that's fluid, they're charismatic, and they have their whole routine nailed down, and they're executing, they're comfortable, and it just seems flawless, even though there might be some hiccups here and there. What I look for in a barista routine is not so much originality, but something that is intriguing. Whether it's the way that they are pulling their espresso, where it's from, how it's been roasted, and the way that they're approaching representing what the coffee actually is. And also their presentation is what holds and captivates your attention to pay attention to what they're doing. And so mostly intriguing is their espresso, the way that they're pulling it, and the ratios, and how long of an extraction, the yield, and the time. And it's really interesting seeing the way that you can extract espresso even just on a 9-bar machine. Oh yeah, it's funny, when Babinski came in and was setting up, and he was in the front, and we were almost right behind where the espresso machine was and his blender. And everybody's looking around, I was like, where's his blender? Babinski loves his blender. And so that's definitely a interesting thing, and he's manipulating texture and other aspects through the blender. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the EK43's been around for forever, and nobody, or at least for me, I'm pretty new into coffee. I didn't know what it was until Bert came on the scene and put his face on it. Literally, we got our machine in our office, and his face was everywhere. And so you see that come on the scene, and it's a great grinder. It really is. And so it's discovery of genuine things that actually do work. And maybe, like, I would never think to use the EK43 for espresso. I don't look at that. I think more retail commercial grinder. And so being in a shop, like, we have our EK and we see that happen, it's like, oh, from just a home barista or barista at home in an actual shop sort of take is like, man, I wonder what this giant burst set is going to do when I grind it super fine. And so we try it, and it influences even our drinks in our shops back home. Well, even they just announced the rule changes, and so that's really exciting. So you see a lot of the Nordic countries, and even the menu that we have at Barista Parlor, the way that Barista Parlor has changed our menu to go from cappuccinos and cortado language into espresso plus milk. And so we have our espressos, and then a 4 ounce, a 6 ounce, an 8 ounce, and a 12 ounce option. And so you see all of these changes subtly coming along in coffee culture and specialty coffee, even more specifically. And now that you don't have to have a specific cappuccino, and that doesn't go to size or texture, you can serve a flat white, or whatever that means. Who knows what a flat white is anymore? You can serve a 4 ounce cortado, or you can pull a longer extraction and serve an even bigger milk drink. And so as milk texturing techniques advance, that's going to be really fun to see even these subtle changes grow with specialty coffee and taste. And so maybe one day you'll be able to brew a brewed coffee for your signature drink and manipulate it that way. It doesn't have to be espresso based. And so the options for creativity are being expanded, but it's not going outside of specialty coffee. We're not doing something else beside this. We're not incorporating alcohol. We're not becoming something else. It's still definitely a barista coffee competition. But as specialty coffee in the industry, as now we're out of the second wave and third wave coffee grows, this competition is getting even more exciting because it's following the trends and what's happening and what we're doing these days. I think that even in coffee culture in our industry, especially third wave specialty coffee, it's such a young culture. Look at other things like the bar, liquor, and wine scene and the foodie culture coming along. Coffee's kind of been the dark shadow in the back corner, literally, of the espresso machine in the bar at the fine dining restaurant. And now that coffee is being discovered and treated in a way that you can have the nuances and discovered, it's not just baristas and then coffee people, it's everybody who can taste. What a magical thing taste is. And so as coffee and specialty coffee grows, the competition's going to grow because people are interested in it. And this is basically the Olympics of coffee. Everybody wants to support a country or support something. We're innately desiring to celebrate something. And so as this competition grows, I do think that as coffee gets popular, competition grows. I think a World Barista competition is important because you see coffee as a global community. You have Malkoning from Germany and all of these different companies that are from throughout the world. And not only experienced coffee in America, but you come in and you see there's different cultures that are influencing even specialty drinks. So there's different ingredients in China and in Iceland that I don't have here in the States. And so that's going to influence the way that they taste, and because they're having a different diet, and maybe they're going to taste different spices that I've never even had before. So they're going to represent and pull and brew their coffees differently than I would here, and the approach in specialty drinks, specifically in competition, is a little bit different. And that's exciting. And when you're meeting people from all throughout the world, the coffee community is a hugging community. Everybody's friendly, and everybody gets along for the most part. And even in competition, everybody's supporting each other. People get done, and they come and they're hanging out, having a laugh, and then you kind of look to somebody that you just met and it's like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go get lunch. And so I've been really pleased and thankful to enter into an industry that's so inviting to not knowing, and so encouraging to knowing more and moving forward. Honestly, my favorite aspect of the competition is seeing everybody come together in support of their own country. I come back to the WBC as the Olympics of coffee, but it really is. And so we're all rooting for Babinski this year, and it's fun to all come together and want him to do well. But then when he's done, you're still rooting on all the other competitors. I love pushing coffee and our creative approach and our aspect and excellence further and further.